Hello everybody, welcome back to Screen Stars. I'm here today to review the 2018 comedy movie that stars Jason Bateman and Rachel McAdams, Game Night. A movie brought to us by the same people that brought us Horrible Bosses and movies like that. So it's got a decent pedigree behind it because I quite like the Horrible Bosses movies. I think they're very funny. And I'm a big fan of Jason Bateman. I think he's a very, very talented comedy actor. And Rachel McAdams is pretty much great in everything she does, and she's got real talent for comedy. So everything is looking good for this movie. It's been getting great reviews, so I've been looking forward to it. And after seeing it, guys, I have to say I agree with the majority of the reviewers. This is a really high quality comedy movie, and one that genuinely had me laughing out loud many times while watching this movie. And what this film focuses on is Jason Bateman's character Max and Rachel McAdams' character Annie, who meet at a quiz night. They are both ultra competitive, and they meet at a quiz night, fall in love, and then sometime later they get married, etc. And once a week they host a game night with their best friends, basically. You get together, you know what game night is, you get together and play loads of games and get all competitive, all that kind of stuff. Great laugh. And then, out of the blue, his brother turns up, who he has been Jason Bateman's brother, who he's been ultra competitive with since they were children. And his brother always seems to come out on top. He's got the flash car, he's got the money, he always seems to be shoving it in Jason Bateman's face. He arrives in town, joins them for game night one night, and then he says, right, next week guys, game night at my house, and we're going to do it a little bit different. And they're like, oh, alright, okay, yeah. So next time at game night, his brother has set up so that it's something different. It's like one of these murder mystery game nights, and he announces that someone's going to get abducted, and they need to figure out where they've taken him, all the rest of it, and the first person that finds him gets the keys to his brand new sports car. I think it's a Firebird. So and in the midst of all this, there's a real abduction takes place, and his brother really does get kidnapped. And the hilarity of that scene, and if you've seen the trailer you know what I mean, is they're all sat there, you know, chomping cheese and sipping wine, watching this abduction taking place, thinking it's all part of the act, and it's actually a real abduction. It's hilarious. And then they all set off, trying to trace the brother and track him down. And they get into all sorts of mischief and fun mishaps, etc. And there you go. That's your movie. I don't want to say anything else. Don't want to get into spoiler territory, but needless to say, there's a couple of red herrings in this movie and a couple of curveballs thrown at you that actually freshen the movie up lovely. It could have just stuck to its original plan and it probably still would have been funny, but they actually, like I say, they try and be a bit creative with this movie and how they've written it, and they keep you on your toes a little bit, which I thought was really clever and interesting. Too many comedies these days can be a bit lazy in the writing, and this comedy doesn't do that. It actually does a really good job with the writing. The chemistry between Rachel McAdams and Jason Bateman is off the page. They're really fantastic together. Two very, very talented comedy actors that give each other space to breathe on the screen. They both get to shine. They're both funny. And really standout performances from both. I've been worried fairly recently that Jason Bateman is kind of giving us the same thing over and over again, and whereas we kind of get the same kind of Jason Bateman in this movie as we've seen previously, his pairing with Rachel McAdams just makes it, and I didn't feel as though it's a performance we see all the time from Jason Bateman. It felt fresh, a bit fresher than usual, so I really appreciated their performance. The other cast members as well, the other friends in the game night, they add elements to this movie that I thought they were going to get tiresome. But no, they added fun elements and some good elements to this movie, and they get their little moments to shine. They're written quite well also, which is refreshing again, because usually these kind of characters get nothing really. They don't get any time spent on them, and they just, you know, don't add anything to the movie generally speaking. But that's not the case here. They're quite well written. Standout performance in this movie is from Jesse Plemons who I've always thought was a poor man Matt Damon previously. He's brilliant in this. He plays like the weird police officer that lives next door that they never invite to game night because he's just a bit odd. And he gives a really off-kilter, weird performance that's a lot of fun. And when they have to go to his house because they need to get access to his police computer, it's really funny what happens in that house. And again, you've seen parts of that in the trailer. And there's a nice surprise later on in the movie, and I'm not going to say who turns up, but I didn't expect it, and it was nice to see him on screen, who plays the main villain later on in the movie. So yeah, I had a really good time with this movie, guys. I can't really think of an awful lot of negatives. No, I can't. As a comedy movie, it's almost flawless. Like I say, really well written. All the characters are useful in the movie. They're all relevant. They're all well written. Obviously, Jason Bateman and Rachel McAdams are the star of this movie. But everybody, like I say, gets their little piece in the movie, and it all intertwines really well together. And this shows for me the strength of a well-written comedy movie, because you don't get an awful lot of them these days. Some of them either just go for vulgar humour and throw toilet vulgar humour at you left, right and centre, and it just gets tiresome after the first 20 minutes, half an hour. This actually is quite a mature comedy, but they do it in a way that is quite intellectual and quite fun. And it never gets tiresome throughout, because like I say, it's well written and it keeps you on your toes, the plot. So yeah, I have to say, guys, I really enjoyed this comedy movie. I'm going to give it an 8.5 out of 10. One of my biggest complaints about a lot of comedy movies is I feel like I always have to prize in this message, and it's all cuddly and at the end and sugar coated at the end. And while this movie has a little bit of that, there's like a pregnancy storyline going on in between it. It doesn't shove it down your throat, if you like. It doesn't shove this message down your throat. It doesn't sugarcoat it and put honey all over everything by the end, as a lot of these American comedies do. So I have to say, this is a really well crafted comedy movie, guys, and I highly recommend it if you're looking for a good laugh game night. Give it a go.